And here we are. Welcome to probably our 100th episode. I feel like we've done more than that, just math-wise, but...
Yeah, well, if we got in 20 a year, this would be the 100th episode-ish of How Did You Get There, our show where we discuss, where we're critical of thoughts, ideas, opinions, and beliefs, and not necessarily the people who hold them, necessarily.
The opinions we share are ours and our guests, and we take full responsibility for all of those opinions that are expressed on our show.
Unless, of course, you wish to adopt an opinion, feel free to adopt your own opinion. It's, for just $0 a month, you can hold an opinion too.
That's right. That's great. Come on down to Stephen and Jeff's Opinion Orphanage. We've got some leftover opinions that nobody really wants.
Some of them are not very popular.
But they could use a good home. That's brilliant.
We sell opinions, and that's all.
So we also tend to have an every fourth or fifth episode Casual Friday that we like to do. So we thought we'd lump both of those together because it's been longer than that since our last Casual Friday.
Yeah, and in about 7 weeks or seven episodes from now, we should do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But the discussion will be about determinism. We'll have a causal Friday.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm a little soft on the topic, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So we had some ideas. We were looking at what we've done before.
We did an episode on critical thinking.
Yeah.
We should probably use it more.
That was a good one.
It was a good one. I enjoyed it. We don't
use it enough here, but we definitely are critiquing our thinking.
Yeah, I think the first failure in critical thought sometimes is us showing up.
I mean, likewise, it's this weird balance that, like, my instinct lies somewhere between who the hell am I to say anything about anything, and people need to talk about things. It doesn't matter who they are. So I feel like we're the spark plug, whether the engine wants to run or not. We're there for it.
Yeah.
So
what's in the news?
What's in the news today? So I didn't do a future news. Dang it. Future news takes but minutes.
I didn't do past news either. So.
Oh, yeah. No, past news was so good. In the news today, we avoided World War III for now. What with the ceasefire between Pakistan and India. Kind of big news to me.
They're both... we're still in the entr'acte.
Yes.
The overture.
Antebellum.
Yes.
I mean...
Have you met my antihistamine?
No.
She's a breath of fresh air.
The bee's knees.
Yeah, so that's good.
I feel like that's a piece of good news.
What happened 2 weeks ago was... Did we have an election?
We had an election.
Oh, yeah. A little blue pill?
Which apparently is still ongoing.
Yep.
As of today.
There's still some close races.
You do number things. And someone made a claim on the X, and it seemed inaccurate to me. And that claim was there is no chance of any election being decided by one vote. It seems in error to me to say that. Like, the vote can actually be that close.
Yep.
It seems highly improbable, just given humans and stuff. But impossible is not one of the choices, I don't think. I mean...
Implausible?
Right? I am skeptical of such a fine margin.
It is statistically unlikely. And the way that we would arrive at it in the way that we count ballots in Canada is, first, we would do a count. Mm-hmm. We go, oh, these are really close. These are within a certain margin of error where there's a chance that we have double counted something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just coincidentally, a number of people have double counted something. Or just because it's very late in the night, it went in the wrong pile and we counted it for that pile.
Mm-hmm.
But that might account for in 20,000 ballots, that might account for 100.
Yeah.
Now, what might also count is...
That's 0.5%, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
About that.
just for my poor math brain.
But what they might also discover is when they go, oh man, that's close, we should double check our work, which seems like a great idea.
Really good idea.
And you go through with more careful scrutiny.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, you cannot say, you look at all the ballots and you say, having been a scrutineer, I did this a couple of times. You look at it and you say, does this clearly indicate a single candidate?
Mm-hmm.
If it clearly indicates a single candidate, it's probably going to be accepted for that candidate. However, there are different rules in different elections. It is indicated you must put an X.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if someone puts a check mark?
If someone puts a check mark and some scrutineer objects,
Mm-hmm.
that is not an X, I go, yeah, but you can clearly see this was their clear indication. You have a little discussion,
Mm-hmm.
and either it counts or it doesn't. And so that's how you might get a 400 ballot swing.
Mm-hmm.
Because there might be 1,000 ballots that it was an X, but it looks like a check mark.
Or one of those where they didn't leave one end open.
And it looks like an alpha.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Right? And so at some point when people are scrambling to find, because yes, scrutineers are there to make it fair, but both sides have scrutineers looking at all sides, have the same have their own scrutineers looking at all the ballots going by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this is the yes. Thank you.
When they say something flips, the Elections Canada flipped this polling station. Well, no, it means the people counting and the scrutineers all agreed that some of those ballots did not count the way that was previously thought that they counted.
Right. If it was if it was 10,000 to 2,000, that's the difference between first and second. Nobody's really going to contest this thing. They're not going to dig out those 400 ballots and it's not going to make a swing. They're not going to dig out 1,000 ballots and it's going to make that swing. However, if it's 10,000 to 9,900, well, now let's dig in.
Let's
right?
go and make sure that we did this right. And that's not the end of it.
No.
At the end of it, and typically, especially if it flipped,
Mm-hmm.
there's a process for a judicial recount, where people who weren't involved in the original count go and count it all again,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that there was no jiggery pokery.
Right. So that just because I'm a scrutineer for Team A and you're a scrutineer for Team B doesn't mean we're not friends in the off season.
Yeah.
It's so these things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my experience has been with scrutineers that although some of the scrutineers I have worked with may have seemed quite partisan, we were all there working to protect the successful exercise of democracy in this flavor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what team the scrutineer comes from. By and large, your average scrutineer is just there to ensure the process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, if you lose your seat and then somebody who got elected chooses independently to step down without any
Oh gosh, yeah, we wouldn't want to violate any kind of law by giving them a cushy job or remuneration of any
or
kind.
even intimating that they might get rewarded for doing so.
Couldn't even imply it. That's true.
Yep. In which case, then we just start again in a by-election. And if you're a reasonably elected public official, especially when you want to help accommodate the process, you call a by-election as immediately practical.
That would be the most fair and equitable thing to do.
Or if you're a little bit scared because you're doing some hinky stuff, maybe you just make fun of the leader of the opposition for hanging out in the hallways, even though you have not you were well within your rights and ability to afford the leader of that opposition to actually run in a by-election.
Interesting point. Interesting point. It is something that a crappy leader would not do.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A quality leader would call the election as soon as possible.
As soon as practical, I like to call it.
True enough. True enough. Because it could just be like, yeah, tomorrow. Right? Yeah. Actually, there has to be 2 weeks or something.
There's a certain amount of time. There's a minimum time for the writ, and then a maximum time. And there's a time limit on after the vacating of a seat that you must call an election. So there will be a by-election before June 28th.
However, that community has been without proper representation in the meantime.
All right, they can still talk to other people because we have a parliamentary democracy. You can just talk to people.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, it's different in Canada than the United States.
It even is that way on if and then I mean 50, but then like a ward people feel that their ward is underrepresented, but it in practice each ward is there to represent the view of that ward and how to make not how to make my ward better within the community. How do I make my province better within my country? How do I innovate? We've got participation in initiatives on paper. It is a direct democracy.
Of my residents, I am at the federal level lobbying for my residents.
Yes,
and that is not what our system is built like.
No, but that is the frustration.
They keep trying to do that.
I think that is the frustration that a lot of the I'm going to go with extreme edges of our political groups tend to feel like I didn't vote for Carney as my prime minister is a thing I've heard.
Yeah, because you don't live in that riding.
That's the only people. I didn't vote for him either. I voted for a party that almost sort of steered near towards the things I hope for Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, election results are in. I think always I'm happier with a minority government. I just always
less likely to have overstep.
Yes, less likely to overstep, requires more conversation, requires
cooperation,
requires less partisanship. It's not none, because different people have different views, and if you are elected, honestly, because Western Canada, at least on the surface, seems like it is a very conservative, small c conservative kind of place, you would expect that piece of the voice that goes into governing Canada would be represented by small c conservatives. And for the most part it is. But it's not exclusive and it's not required. There's no law that says we have to have conservatives here.
And so that's a thing where I think I haven't. At times, I'm sure, when I was younger, I did buy into the narrative that the West is neglected. I feel like, a little bit representational by population-wise. Like, we don't give full credit to all the voices in our jurisdiction compared to the overrepresentation of, say, the voices of Prince Edward Island.
Yeah.
But it's not a rep by pop thing. To me, that way, it's more of just the amount of voice that should be represented rather than a diversity of opinion. I mean, because it's all, if we switch us to 12 so that it's population aligned or whatever, still going to be blue for the most part. But I think that blue voice, the conservative small c voice in Ottawa, puts the pause in the accelerationism that might go on in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that we are disregarded. They have to, the choices that they discuss in Ottawa include the voices from here. And if those voices aren't there, then small c conservatives get left in the dirt, and that's not good.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm okay with it personally, but I think people actually deserve a voice.
Yeah, and it's been my experience dealing with actual humans on the actual street of actual Lethbridge.
Yeah.
That we are, by and large, plus or minus a very small amount, centrist.
Yes.
Like, I don't know very many. I know some,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know very many very, very left-wing, socially left-wing, fiscally left-wing people.
Yeah,
I don't know a lot of them.
I bogged down on the fiscal part a little bit.
Like, I am more or less ever so slightly fiscally conservative, ever so slightly.
Yeah, I'm a
And
little.
it's always at odds with my social liberalism. Like, I mean, also I don't believe in rights, but that's a different.
Yeah.
I don't think
It's a separate issue, and we have worked at that one. We've poked around. We had a full episode on that once.
Yeah.
On rights. What the hell are they?
had a great chat with a person of German descent, and the nature of the conversation was about elections. So I'm trying to keep it tied to what we were just talking about, so we're not straying a little bit at a time, not a jump scare.
We can go anywhere. It's our holiday. It's our birthday. We can do what we want, man.
Happy birthday from all of us to you. Oh, it's Bimbo, the birthday clown.
Happy birthday from all of us to you. Happy birthday. All your dreams come true. Hey.
And we were at a pub at the time, so, and when I was approached on this subject by this person, I was floored. Asserted that incarcerated individuals should not be allowed to vote.
That was the way it was.
And that's the way. Yeah, we gotta get back to that. I was like, okay, so tell me, how did you get there? I played the how did you get there?
It's such a good game. You guys play this game at home. How did you get there?
Why?
How do you know that?
Why shouldn't they be allowed to vote? Because they didn't follow the law of the land. All right, well, I'm going to go reductio ad absurdum here, and I'm going to cut to the chase. So, if you've never had a parking ticket, because if you get a parking ticket, you have violated the law of the land. Should you still be allowed to vote? Okay, so you hit somebody with a baseball bat.
So your right to vote is your ability to participate in society. If you have served your sentence, i.e. no longer a prisoner, that means you have been deemed acceptable by society, legally speaking. So as long as I've paid the fine on my parking ticket, I have corrected the offense to society and am therefore able to participate in society again.
But what if you get the ticket on, say,
then no,
Friday,
no,
and
if
you
you
don't pay until the following Friday and the
sorry,
election is in the middle?
no vote for you.
Well, and that's sort of what. Anyway, that's ridiculous.
That's how that argument works.
We have, for better or worse, we have rights in this country, and one of them is, if you're a Canadian citizen, you have the right to vote. And are we going to take somebody's rights away? Like, and who gets to decide?
We have already infringed upon all these rights by putting them in jail in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, I don't believe in rights. He said, well, why? And I went on my little tiny... I said, really?
The Coles Notes version?
What you're suggesting is that voting should be a privilege, and that privilege could be revoked, either permanently or temporarily, for failing to play by a particular set of rules, for failing to meet certain obligations.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm going to have to rethink this.
Nice.
And I said, all right.
That is the goal.
And that is all the goal.
Even if he comes back twice as hard with a more substantial answer.
Same
yes.
answer, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, yeah.
But please. And I was like, here's one thing. I was like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so 16-year-olds are citizens.
Mm-hmm.
They should be allowed to vote, right? Well, no, they haven't broken any laws, and they're citizens.
12-year-olds. 12-year-olds are liable under the law. Why can they not participate in the decisions that affect them?
Yep. Also, flip side, proportionally, the number of incarcerated individuals in Canada compared to the regular voting population, the rest of the voting population, is small.
Really? I'm surprised. I just figured if I was a prisoner, I'd be like, oh, extra stretch around outside the cell today. Boo! Like, I'd go vote just for that. But.
Yeah, but there are fewer incarcerated voters than
free
voters.
Vote like a free man.
Incarcerated voters. Like, I don't know this.
No, but
intuitively it tracks, and I know where to go look.
Yeah.
But I don't think that of the, let's say, 25 million or 30 million eligible voters in Canada, I don't think we have 3 million incarcerated individuals.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Like, so we don't have 10%, and they're all in different ridings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I see the effect that the prison population would have on the outcome of the vote.
Yeah, so I don't see any benefit to society, or even to a particular political cause, to not let them vote.
There's a part of me that's just like looking at, say, a Central Alberta prison and thinking maybe that is a large base compared to the surrounding community.
Right, but it's in a larger community.
Yeah, but I mean, let's say most of Drumheller is like, meh, or, they're like, but every prisoner votes. Then it could be enough. That's all I'm saying.
But maybe they're not.
That's my reductio.
Maybe they're not considered, maybe we don't consider them residents of that community.
Oh, I see. Like, each prisoner voting in a prison isn't voting for the prison in the riding in which the prison exists. They're voting for the riding from which they were incarcerated.
Yes.
Okay.
So if
I didn't know that. I just assumed they were voting for the.
Well, I don't know what the rule is there either.
Cool.
But if we're going to make sure that it remains kind of fair, and so that the inmates don't run the prison, as it were, like literally and figuratively, I think it would make sense. If you're from Lethbridge, you vote in the Lethbridge riding. If you're from Belly River, Crowfoot,
you vote for the prisoners.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been convicted of anything yet.
Yeah. So anyways, how did you get there?
That's not bad. That's not bad. So we've had a few guests on the show.
Yes, we've had.
How many guests? I didn't look up this. Someone else can phone in with the correct answer.
You know the phone number? Does the phone work?
Does the phone even work anymore? Jess, text me. Does the phone work?
And could we answer it, and could it be on the air?
I used to know how. Yeah. In our first season, we did that.
When we were a radio show.
When we were a radio show on Jess FM.
So I think that we have had... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to say like 13?
I would say...
Feels? I mean...
Because some of the episodes you weren't there for, though, I brought in a guest.
Right.
So that's...
I think it's higher than I
like, I'm thinking 15, 16. It's like in that neighborhood.
There's a lot to it.
They are... It's a meal.
Now, some of them, we've had some duplicates, though.
Yes. Well... One for real duplicate.
Yep.
And then duplicate from a similar event being represented.
Yep.
I can't think of more than one guest I've had on more than once other than Yale.
Yeah, we only had Justin on once, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had.
But it'd be fun to have him back after he gets back from PAX thing, whatever.
Yeah.
In his Nintendo dadsness.
Oh, what a great guy.
He's just having so much fun.
Yeah. Because we've had Justin, we've had Jenna, we had Yale twice.
Mm-hmm. Chris
recently. Strudelbrand, is that
Strudelbrand? That's
1 or 2.
I count them as 2.
Okay, so then we also get to count the word.
The word people as 3 people, right? Because they had 2 guests, as well as that's why Jenna was here.
So there was Jenna for 1, and then 2 more. So
yeah.
I mean, that's already like 10.
Eric.
I
had Jess. I had Jess Wynn. Who, perhaps if you're tuned in today, Jess, you are like one of the most fearless performers ever, and I admire you for that. Cookie Crimes.
Oh yeah, you had. Were they both on?
No, I can't. His name I can only think of your last name right now, and I feel terrible.
Yeah, and I had it right up until
I know I saw him closing down the shop yesterday while I was at Thursday when I was at rehearsal, and I was like, "There's."
Yep.
Yeah.
And it will not come back as long as it's pressure and pressure.
No, yeah. I'll be walking home, I'll be driving home, and I'll be like, I'm sorry.
Do you count me as a guest when I was doing it remotely?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Oh, our part-time technician was a guest.
Yeah.
We had Megan on. We did a reshoot of a similar episode with someone. Does that count?
Oh.
As 2 guests or 1 guest, but I can't remember. That was Rachel. I had Rachel Robinson on, and then that didn't go very well audio-wise. And so we had her back. I need some chicken legs.
You got them.
I know.
Thanks for wearing long pants.
Funniest role reversal in a play I've done was Grease, and I got to comment to the character Danny Zuko, as played by Scott Carpenter, when he wanted to compete in the athletics, and I said, "What with those chicken legs?" So you can't. I mean, it was written that way. It did look the opposite. Yeah.
I said, yeah,
ball. So I think we're at like 16, 17. That's pretty good. That's not bad for
1/8.
We're pretty scary. I'd be a little scared to come on our show.
I wouldn't.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
their opinions are yours, and we'll be critical of them. If we gotta.
Yeah. But I mean, I think we were able to crack a couple of the harder shells. The people we're most curious about, I think, are probably intrinsically shy people, because they tend to be from the academia.
Weird. Yeah, academics being shy. Out of their fish out of water.
Yeah.
Right?
This is a little thing I sort of love but find entirely frustrating about academics all at once. Let's say that I'll pretend I'm Dr. Josh Bowen right now. So I'm an Assyriologist of renown, and I am also a Near East scholar from Babylon up to just pre-Christianity. So I know like 4 different languages, and none of them are alive today, but most of them are cuneiform. And
that's just scratching the surface.
Yeah. So I can like pick up but if someone says, well, what about this in Egypt? And I know this stuff because I've done a whole great big book on slavery. And so I've looked up antebellum slavery, I've looked up Egyptian slavery, so I can compare all these different things. But if someone asks me about Egypt, I will say, well, it's not my area of specialty. No, I appreciate that you do not wish to speak outside of your specialty. I get this. And it's
grant you academic immunity for the purposes of this conversation.
Exactly.
And you do not claim, and you have already disclaimed
your
authority. Let's just talk about
what you think. What are you? Yeah. So I admire that's outside of what I actually feel I'm qualified to talk on. right? I get that feeling.
You'll never be a politician with an attitude like that.
Yeah, no, that's why I think I would smash that politician thing. I'd Dunning-Kruger the piss out of that, yo. So we could.
This is a peak Dunning-Kruger right here.
Yeah. So I yeah, that's. But I think that's like the yay boo of that some of the academics we speak with, right? Like, well, yeah, sure, I know this, but it's not really what I know. It's not the thing I know best, and that's fine. Like, I just want my academics to be more human sometimes.
Fair. You know what I hate? All grand generalizations.
Mostly, I am certain there are no certainties.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And probably a difference of one vote could happen.
Like that's
like a very low probability.
Hello, and welcome to halfway through the show. So apparently we're only 50 episodes through the discussion of the 100th episode. Yeah. And really we've only talked about 5 things.
Have we talked about Pride ever?
As
in before the fall.
But like the celebration,
yeah.
I think we tied that into something else. I think it was freedom of expression conversation.
Yeah. I went to see a big gay concert last night. That was the name of it.
Ah, very good.
Like I wasn't being.
No.
I wasn't.
This is Canada. We say things like that.
Yeah, it was called
the Big Gay Concert.
Big Gay Concert, and it was a fundraiser for Lethbridge Pride.
Cool.
And it was a number of singers and instrumentalists performing a number of Broadway musical numbers of note.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some.
This is a Hamilton-free zone.
Well, it was, yeah. It was a Hamilton-free zone this one time.
Then better.
It's some pretty mad rap.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll come back with it. It was good. The songs were presented by whoever felt like singing the song. I mean, they had a plan. It was
they didn't just
rock paper
who's
scissors
up?
on stage.
That'd be such a good concert. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ooh, just random draw. And singing the next song is never mind. Dear Polytechnic fundraising idea. Anyway.
That sounds so dangerously painful. I have to have a good band because you may need to do some pitch shifting and things.
Yeah.
But it was really good, and I think that in the Lethbridge area, the notion of Pride, not Pride before the fall, but Pride, the event saying, "Hey, be who you want to be,"
mm-hmm.
Right, is dangerous and scary. Still. And I don't think it's like consciously dangerous and scary. I think it's a thing that people have a bias and become some degree uncomfortable when that bias is juxtaposed with their reality.
Feminism 40 years ago?
Yeah, feminism 40 years ago. Right?
There's nothing about feminism that prevents you from being a housewife.
Well, there's something about it that prevents me from being a housewife.
True.
Oh, I guess it's linguistics that prevents me from being a housewife.
That's true. We could call you wife and you could be that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just a weird thing that I've seen out there that feminism pushes people away from housewifery.
Yeah.
And no, it pushes open just other options.
Yeah,
in theory.
I'm a housewife.
Mm-hmm.
Not a housewife.
Yes.
So, because I'm a dude guy.
Lords, ladies, and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. and others.
I mean, that is the rest. It really is. Lords, ladies, gentlemen, and others.
Yeah. unless there's royalty, in which case
then you start
with the royalty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good show, and I think if we haven't had somebody on from Pride, I think that'd be a great thing to talk about.
Yeah. I certainly have misconceptions.
Yeah. Me too.
Yep.
I have what I think is what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And it may align with the reality.
And I am certain that it does not mean the same thing for everybody involved.
I feel like perhaps an event like that is like using a word like patriot.
You're not doing it right.
Right? Like,
so, but that's actually, I think that's a really cool distinction. Like patriotism, it is very easy, and
it's an Orwellian word.
It is not seen as wrong to say you're not doing patriotism correctly.
Weirdly, hey, it's freedom.
You're not doing freedom right.
So you're not doing Pride Day right? Or Pride Day is this, and patriotism is that, and
ridiculously, I've never seen that in Pride. In the Pride.
That they're Pride Daying wrong.
I've never seen anybody say you're Pride Daying wrong unless it's somebody
contrary to the Pride Day event as a concept.
It's like you should not be doing it at all. Where's my straight day? I'm like,
so I think that's
you could be straight at Pride. It's super okay with we're all. I think everybody's okay with that.
I think my only objection to the Pride event is I feel like if you wouldn't go shopping that way, like I wouldn't dress.
Don't do it in the street and frighten the horses. Is that where you're getting to?
That's where I'm getting to. Just don't scare the horses. And I think some of those displays are close to horse scary.
Yeah,
but that's just my opinion. Yeah. It's not that they are. That's just.
It's not true.
It's the same.
It's the same. True. It's just the thing that I feel.
Well, it's the same as me feeling that pajama pants are going to wreck society, right? It's the same feeling. It's just.
I'm more concerned with that.
Probably true, because again, whatever ostentatious display that I might perceive at the Pride Parade doesn't happen every day, whereas pajama pants do.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have the same problem with the same non-problem. I'm going to say because it's not really a problem. The same kind of thoughts about Pride Parade as I have about Whoop Up Days Parade.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to go and put on a cowboy hat and boots and wander down the streets,
you might actually scare the horses more.
Right? Do the thing. I honestly don't care if you're doing that. If you're as long as you're not out there like stirring up hatred, I'm pretty okay. My brush of hatred is pretty broad.
Yeah. But I mean, I think you're implying the hatred is intentional.
Yeah.
And uncorrectable.
Yes. If I walk down the street and people get mad because I'm walking down the street, that's different. If I'm walking down the street to make people mad, that's what I mean by stirring up.
Yeah, exactly. If you're rage baiting, fuck off. And if you're not, right? Then you're just having a parade, and you can either watch or don't watch.
Yeah.
I've watched a Pride Parade. It did not offend me.
And I know a number of people who fall in the broad category of queer. Right? And
where's my aces at? Anyway.
Yep. Yep. Just like a lot of people across all of the whole pick your letter in the giant acronym.
Mm-hmm.
Or
I'm the plus. I'm a plus.
Sure.
To every conversation.
And mostly, they are not characters that you would see in a parade. Do they dress up for the parade? Yeah, but do you put on a costume for Halloween?
Yeah.
Honestly, what is the difference?
Nothing. Ooh.
There are differences.
Yeah.
But I mean,
on the grand, if we're making broad strokes generalizations, no, I get it, broad strokes.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Happy 100.
Happy 100. Cheers.
Maple goodness.
Yep, from Newfoundland.
Elbows up. Yeah. Such a corny thing to do. So corny. So camp. So ridiculous. So effective.
Yeah, if you're going into the corner and you want to do some damage,
I mean, yeah.
elbows up.
Like, again, I don't know about having an economist who clearly has an economist. Actually, dude's really in shape. If
He's a fit economist.
he's very fit. He fits his bills. I thought that was super.
That was layers.
Layers.
Like an ogre.
Like
or an onion. Or a parfait.
A parfait.
Everybody loves parfait.
Treat fitty. Ain't no Boston, no treat fitty. But I just wanted to throw that one out there. That was a thing that's been around for a month or two.
Elbows up, because we can't stand slogans anymore.
Yeah, well, that's sort of where I was kind of thinking.
Yeah, but elbows up doesn't rhyme.
True. So it's not true.
Right, but axe the tax.
Axe the tax is true.
I have encountered recently a lot of people going, much like you're being patriotic wrong.
Yeah. You axed the tax wrong?
Yeah, you didn't axe the tax exactly the way that we said we were. Oh, you did. Well, but that was our idea. Yes, and it was a good one, so we did the thing.
Yeah. So, and if it wasn't such a combative sport, I think if like Party A says, hey, we should axe the tax, and Party B says, hey, that's a good idea, and they do it, why would you be upset? Like, I don't understand.
The whole point of parliamentary democracy is talk about what the best way to do the thing is, and then
so they do it, and then you're like, but that was our idea. Well, cool. That was the whole point of you bringing it up. No,
thank you for bringing it up.
That was a good idea.
Let's move on now.
Whether it is or isn't, right? It was a well discussed idea anyway, and it was implemented.
Yeah. Do or do not. There is no trust.
I mean, I wish. I want that politician still that's just going to be like, this is what I'm going to do. And then they do it. Whether, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's...
I don't want that. We have that.
No. Otherwise, my medical system would have been fixed 200 and some odd days ago.
Oh, yeah, but...
So that's what I mean by do it.
You want them to say and do all the things they say that they're going to do.
Yes.
Not just some of them.
Not just the preferred ones. No. Like, if I come up with a platform that says if I go full rhino, and I'm like, I want my... Not what the Americans consider a rhino. The Rhinoceros Party in Canada is it's its own separate satirical entity that's wonderful. It is not a wayward Republican. So rhino, I'm gonna. If liberals are libtards, are Republicans retards? Reptiles, erectile dysfunction. So we run all the provinces east and west. That's my platform. I frickin' do it, right? I get elected. Yeah. Do it.
Everybody gets a seaport.
That's right.
I feel sorry for whoever gets the border.
Yeah, BC, sucking wind. Right? If we just give everything that quarter turn, the BC gets the southern border. Go the other way.
Turn the other way.
Give New Brunswick the southern border. I'm good with that. New Brunswick does well with Maine. Those two entities get along really well.
Yeah.
Like they share forest rescue. Yeah.
Because by and large, the people who live on the ground in all of this international trade nonsense are just people trying to live their lives.
There was a battle on the Niagara Bridge today.
What?
Yes. The U.S. versus Canada in a law enforcement tug of war. But like literally. And the Canadian women beat the Canadian men, Canadian women beat American women 3-0, and the U.S. men beat the Canadian men 3-0. So there was a battle. It was literally a tug of war.
Nice.
Yep. But that was yesterday or today.
We have strong women.
We are. Apparently.
We are a nation of strong women.
Well, I want to point out it's because we didn't change the standards for hiring women to any of the jobs.
Oh, yeah. Equality versus equity.
Yes. Yeah, equality of opportunity versus equality of outcome. that is a discussion we've had on this show before.
Yeah.
And that one is, I still believe in this one. Everyone should have a chance to do the thing.
Yeah.
Not everyone has a chance to be the thing.
Yeah. I consider my elder daughter,
Mm.
who had to be able to do all the same things as a 6 foot, 220 pound ripped dude can do,
Mm-hmm.
to become a firefighter.
Mm-hmm.
She is not 6 foot anything. She's
She's like my height. My weight. She probably
Five-
outweighs me a little bit. But
5'7", about your weight, maybe a little bit more because she got different muscles.
more, all of them.
And I'm reasonably certain her cardio is better.
Definitely. I can get around the block
Yeah. Yeah.
at more than just a slow walk.
Yeah, she ran a 10K on the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know anything on the planet other than another human
Mm-hmm.
that will chase me for 10K.
You have not met a monitor lizard.
No, I haven't.
So there you go. You're good with your statement.
Yep.
But yeah, there are very few things that can jog.
Yep. Yeah, like I don't have to outrun a panther for a very long time.
No, you could run down the deer. We used to.
Yeah.
You would. You guys should.
Woo!
So Jess is taking in sponsorships now for some soundproofing. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Please send your blank checks to.
back in the radio days, we did some interesting shows. Did we have when we played the card game?
Oh my gosh.
Did we take pictures of that, or was that? I think we just played it.
I think we just played.
Yeah, we played cards one time.
Yeah. It was one of our wintry, crappy colds.
Yeah, and we played the one with the hitch slap.
Yes, debunked.
Debunked.
We played the
Yeah.
card game Debunked.
We invented a conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm. No, Nancy, we won't.
Yep.
Yet.
It's that easy, right?
Oh, if we press the magic rewind button as to when we thought we could have launched that,
Yeah.
there would be no one doing it by now.
Right.
Yeah. Because the more we would deny it, the worse it would become.
Yep.
Well, how did you hear about it in the first place? No, we invented it. Sure you did.
Sure you did.
Yeah. In a vacuum. You just came up with that. Well, no, we've heard of conspiracy theories before.
Yeah, and besides, it would be a pretty big vacuum, and I'd probably be desiccated by now if I did it in a vacuum.
Can we change some words so that it's not a problem? Like when people say the vacuum of outer space, how about the non-pressurized parts of outer space?
The near vacuum of outer space.
Well, the vacuum exists in the pressure change, not in the solid state.
Yeah, I suppose vacuum is really just like the
removal thereof.
the absence of pressure.
Yeah. And it's very sciencey of you to put it that way. Because it's,
I science sometimes.
He sciences, he numbers.
I try and use words in a consistent manner for the duration of a particular topic.
Yes.
I try to do it across topics as well, but I understand that time and other circumstances affect how we use language. We've talked about that too, I think.
Yeah. And this sort of almost ties into something eons ago. We were talking about natural and supernatural, and where supernatural isn't necessarily a sufficient word always to describe, especially when I refer to my worldview leaning towards naturalism. I don't believe that the contrary of that would be supernaturalism. Anaturalism, absolutely. So I think that's in that aspect.
Yeah.
Also just exploratory tool, because I get asked sometimes about what my atheist worldview, which I understand the question as malformed as it is.
When you steal, man, the question.
But if I'm to say, I try and uno reversi. My worldview is naturalism, right? Mm-hmm. Which does not allow for anatural things. Theism is an anatural, typically, anatural system. Therefore, I am atheistic, right? So the atheism comes from naturalism, not the other way around. Like, I'm not a naturalist because there is no God. I'm a naturalist, and as it turns out, because of that, the probability of God is like infinitesimal.
Yeah. I continue to struggle with how to reconcile all of those things. Like, it's maybe comfortable. Why are we sitting halfway in the dark? I just realized that.
Because I didn't turn this side of the...
It makes no difference.
It does, look it.
Oh, you look younger.
I do. This side's gray only.
Yeah.
I look younger.
Well, you are younger than me.
Yeah. You're dirt? Ah, so.
Steaming mad at dirt.
Oh, very good. He's the rug doctor. He does not do hardwood.
Where were we? And,
hey, Natural, having a tough time with...
Oh, right, yeah. So, I'm a computer programmer. Refresher?
Please.
So I'm a computer programmer, and I know that I am not part directly of the programs that I write.
Okay.
Right? I set up the program, and it does some things.
So although you are the creator of the program, but once the program is running, you just let it do its thing.
I let it do its thing.
What if it's not doing its thing? What do?
I turn it off and turn it back on again. Or I adjust inputs, or I fidget with the database. And when my program terminates, although the instructions for making it go persist, it's not going. I could have a database, which is like a separate store. So when the program is not running, the things that made the personality live in a database.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I turn it back on again. The program goes, "Oh, I'm awake now," and it loads up everything from the database, and it's back to where it was. Maybe, and I can't know this, but maybe there is like a computer programming department for Universe that is one level of abstraction out from Universe.
Okay.
I can't prove it because I only have access to what's in my universe. Doesn't mean there's not something. Does not mean there's not a different level of abstraction.
Okay.
Because I can't, which would mean that my universe is actually bigger than I think it is, but I can't see past a particular boundary.
But you can at least conceive it.
I can think about it.
Sure.
Doesn't mean it's true.
Nope. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So if it's out there, maybe it is in computer programming, and maybe when we die, the bit that keeps track of the parts that are important to who we are at this moment are stored in a database and then restored in a new program.
Neat.
Right?
Neat.
That could. I don't see why that can't be a thing. I just can't prove it. I can rationalize it to a certain degree.
Yes.
But there's a necessary leap of faith. But it doesn't. It's that my existence here doesn't require that to be true, or doesn't require that to be false.
That's sort of the where I get to with any of this. Are you in a simulation? Is it solipsism? Although I did have fun thinking a weird thought about solipsism, where you're not just a brain in a vat, but you are one brain amongst many brains in a vat, and then somewhere you bump into another brain and there's osmosis. Anyway, yeah. I went off on a tangent. But in terms, but be it solipsism, whether I'm part of the matrix, doesn't really on the ground matter. I am confronted with real or imagined this reality that I perceive, and I've got to engage with it. Now, intellectually speaking, I'm 100% certain that when I doubt, I can figure out who's doubting that I exist. I'm probably the one doubting I exist.
I believe that I have phrased it as I ponder, therefore I might be.
Yes, I probably am because I'm the only one I can think of that's doubting that I exist. So it doesn't matter if I'm in a brain in a vat. Doesn't matter.
So if my brain has manufactured you,
Mm-hmm.
and you say all these things,
Mm-hmm.
It would have been my brain that manufactured you. So probably I exist.
Yes.
Because if I don't exist, I cannot manufacture you.
Right.
Right. So
and you can't rely on remembering I was the person that said those things.
Right.
You have to. It's part of the thinking is the doubt portion. Like, can't rely on your memory. Human memory's bad. So only in the activity of doing it can we have the certainty. Everything else to me is less than. Right. Now, this doesn't put me in a choice of rebuilding the universe every time I wake up in the morning. The reality that I perceive is largely consistent.
you ever play Doom?
Yes.
That whole world doesn't exist
Mm-hmm.
until you're looking at it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. Which is, it's sort of a solipsistic way to look at it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's okay. So this is a topic that we have hit a number of times from a number of angles.
Yeah.
So that's where I have 2 minutes left, so we can't hammer this one.
No.
But hey, if you are a person in our community, or maybe if we can figure out the technology in any community on Earth,
And you imagine that I exist.
And you imagine that I exist, and you want to chat with us about that and give us some different insights?
At HTYGTYQL on the X. You can contact me on Facebook. I'm really loath to be there often, but you can drop me a message.
Scenario, send Jess a message, and it'll get it through.
Jess is good about getting me messages.
Yeah. Or any of the other weird stuff that we talk about. It's super good to hear from you if you have an opinion or want to discuss your opinion, or
It's very hard
you
to.
said something you agree with or something you disagree with. Because I think we can do another 100 episodes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just not always easy to come up with a fresh topic.
Yeah, or a fresh take.
Yeah.
Oh, 2.5 minutes.
2.5. That clock is just fast.
Or slow, because it says almost 1 o'clock.
Well, yeah. So that one's fast.
Well, that one's like an hour slow.
I guess.
You're just looking at the minutes part.
I don't care about the hours.
So
It's like minutes matter. It's like minutes matter to him in navigation.
Time, Stuart.
So good.
Time.
There's a video from the Royal Shakespeare Academy where many of that era Shakespeare, so Judi Dench and Patrick Stewart, that ilk, they take a line from Shakespeare, and they each come out and say it. No two are the same. No two.
That is the question.
Yeah, oh yeah. And then the fight ensues as to why everyone else did it wrong.
Yep.
From everybody else. And it just was like
The clip culminates with the patron of the Royal Shakespeare Society, then Prince, now King, Charles, comes out and says, to be or not to be, that is the question. And they went, yep, all right.
Yeah. Whereas I just spent, all last week playing, I must speak like a 2nd grader to figure out the rhyme and meter. I sometimes like to go outside. Yeah, and like when you're like, been doing this for a few years now. No, that's when you start getting into the rhyming verse, the rhyming couplets, then it's terrible.
If we were to ever rewrite Romeo and Juliet, I would actually have, not the Montagues, but the other family, everything they have to say is like pairs of rhymes, everything. Because they would
Rhyming couplets, oh my god. So again, I just want to point out, House Aeschylus, in the tragedy of 2 families, suffers the most casualties. The one house they don't talk about suffers the most tragedy. Just saying. Just in case people are doing Shakespeare one day and they want to Come see me.
Pizza, Steve.
Grade 11 students, come see me about your Shakespeare quiz.
Brush up
Your Shakespeare. And also the 90 minutes of Shakespeare that we just did. That was
Shakespeare was good too.
I try to tell people about drunk Shakespeare, and any of my fellow actors just go, nuh-uh.
Not everybody's drunk, just one.
Just the one! But everybody's like, well aware. When Romeo just feels like getting naked because it's warm out that day.
When Juliet taking off her top because it's hot being up in that bed.
It is, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Juliet, sweetie, you gotta keep your shirt on.
We still have 2.5 minutes. It's okay, buddy. Phil! I feel like he's just.
We're gonna run away.
A poor boy hat away. and an old school megaphone. Get it going, boys! Play me off, Charlie! Da, 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 da.
So I intentionally found myself on Facebook and actually accidentally found myself scrolling through the Facebooks. And scrolled across the initial episode of the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh my goodness.
From 1962.
Weird.
Where they were still actually living on
their
little patch of land, and the
premise is built on this.
The premise is built on this whole thing, and it's why when you see them coming in the opening credits and the next, why Granny's on the chair.
Yes, she didn't want to go. They strapped her to that.
You're not getting me out of this chair, so they put the whole chair on the jalopy. Yeah, Ellie Mae, he was down in the swamp, so I hit him with a rock. Made him easier to carry. Just do clunk.
It worked.
They don't write television like that anymore. Probably a good thing. The stereotypes are super strong. And I know some of those people.
Well, you've been to Trail. Never mind. Yes. I was trying to hide them from you, but that's okay. We figured it out right away.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think I should MC anybody's wedding anymore because the ones that I've MC'd haven't turned out all that well.
You know, the one I did is still going. That was Kevin and Raquel.
Oh yeah.
They're still together. Amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They've been together since high school.
Aw.
I know. It is super adorable.
Yeah.
I think we're almost done though. So, I see the prompt screen.
The title card came up. So what are we gonna do in 2 weeks?
Another episode.
That sounds about right. I think I'm back.
I think your schedule said probably.
I think my schedule said probably.
What's in 2 weeks, math wise? 24th, 31.
I have a thing.
The 1st of June.
25th of May.
25th of May.
I will be back. But the whole intervening week, the 19th to the 23rd, I'm going to Upper Bound in Edmonton. It's an AI conference.
Cool.
Richard Sussin will be speaking.
Name.
Recent Alan Turing Award recipient. Just a brilliant. He's like a
posited as the most vibe-worthy, appreciated philosopher.
Yeah.
By Simon Cashmore.
Yep.
Of all people. And I thought that's a brilliant thing. I like Peter Singer because dude be crazy proper. You think your idea is weird. Let's Singer that idea.
Yeah, so it's going to be great to hang out with some nerds. Not full on nerd camp, but
pretty close.
So pretty close.
So more like space camp.
Like space camp.
Like a whole bunch of people that are fascinated and knowledgeable about the thing are all going to hang out together.
And we're going to talk about some things. And they have a big party on the Thursday night and
fun.
Last year the big party on the Thursday night was at the Ice House. And there was we had one whole section of the Ice House in the Ice District of Edmonton.
Cool.
And we got to watch the Edmonton Oilers win a game.
Neat.
Like late in the playoffs before they got kicked out.
That could happen again this year.
It's likely to happen again this year, just for time.
Okay, he's ready for us. Get off the air? Okay.
So thanks, Jess. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back in a fortnight.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, yeah.